You're welcome to News Echoes of a special day like this on the 23rd day of February 2022. What a force of yesterday. And everybody was talking about it. Two. And it's like, what a Tuesday we had yesterday. But thank God we are on the 23rd day right now, February 2022. Some even told us yesterday that we will never see such a day like that for another 1,000 years. For those of you who will see it in 1,000 years' time, I congratulate you. My name is Shegun Johnson, and we are back into business. Today, we're going to look at the final war since 1945. Many people are calling it another Third World War. We are yet to see as cautions are taking place both the East and the West. But in this studio, we're going to discuss all of the issues we have today, international issues, African issues, especially. Have in the studio our own man, in-house researcher, Ambassador Nat Yakwo. Ambassador Nat, you're welcome to the program again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Johnson, and good morning.
Yes, thank you. You look very fresh, sir, and London is doing you good.
And you too.
Oh, we have in the house, all the way from Abuja, the man who is an educationist and, of course, a seasoned, renowned journalist, Dr. Osita Anyemika. Osi, you welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shegun Johnson.
Who
And
says there
my
is no
very
money
good
in
friend.
Nigeria? Because the way you look, your cheeks, who says there is no money in Nigeria?
I am feeding off someone's pocket for your information.
Oh, well, we all feed from someone's pockets ultimately. And far away in Milan, Italy, we have our man, own anchored man, Macmillan. Mark Godwin, you're welcome to the program.
This is my salute to all the honorables. Good morning, sirs.
Yes.
Good morning, Dr.
Thank
Sher.
you.
Good morning,
Thank
Dr.
you,
Morning.
my
Sita.
Godwin. And Your
Dr.
Excellency, I'm going to copy your white beard. You can
Oh,
totally leave me alone.
that, comes,
you already have now. So
that comes
Yeah, no,
with
I'm
age.
copying yours. I'm copying yours.
thank you.
It's so
Nice,
interesting.
nice.
We have I think about two or three continents, certainly more than three countries here, and so it's wonderful what technology can do. I really welcome you, gentlemen. We're going to
Thank you so
look into. Let's start with Ukraine. Ukraine has been on the front burner for months now, and it's a case of East versus West. Once upon a time, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, and then there was the balkanization of the USSR. And since then, Russia has not found it comfortable to leave Ukraine. Many said Ukraine was the basket bread of the USSR, and they will not allow it to go, especially for security reasons right now. And the Russian parliament has given Vladimir Putin the right to go to war. And they have also supported the separatist movements in Donetsk and Luhansk. And so these are the things that is causing problem there. And as far as the West is concerned, Russia has started invading Kiev. I know what I'm saying. Kiev. Not that they are in Kiev at the moment, but that they said they are working their way towards Kiev. Certainly, they are in Ukraine. So this is where we are, and I want to say this: the United States has been very, very cautious. They have said that they don't want to put foot soldiers in Ukraine, mainly because it is the sphere of influence of Russia, and that may mean a third world war. Here in the United Kingdom, the British government has decided to put sanctions against five Russian banks and three oligarchs. We'll still discuss why they call them oligarchs. Three Russian oligarchs. And the EU has targeted 27 different organizations or individuals that they're going to handle. Now, are we at the brink of an international war? Let me start with you, in-house researcher. Are we at the brink of a war, or the war has even started?
Well, my personal view and opinion is the war has already started, whether it is the Third World War or any or international war or conflict. It started long ago. As for immediately, USSR was dismembered into so many other republics or countries. Any president of Russia has always felt the barrenness of what used to be USSR. They still dream of it. They still think it's possible. And uh, Putin came in first outing, second outing, almost a live president now. He started with Georgia. They want to make sure that all those other former USSR countries should have some touch with Soviet, with Russia, whatever is happening, but with emphasis to Ukraine. Ukraine was very sensitive, very central to the geopolitics of the USSR. The USSR had their arsenal, the best, the arms, the strength of their military was in Ukraine, and the best of their arms and ammunition were in Ukraine, and they will not want. They've lost some, but they don't want that to go easily. And Ukraine also was the industrial hub of the USSR, as Dr. John Shagun put it, was the bread basket of the USSR. And so, uh, as time went on, we remember how Putin came into Crimea. First of all, it was the issue of trying to protect the boundaries of the Soviet, of Russia. Now he then started talking of keeping the peace.
Yeah.
And the same thing is now happening. It's now talking. Those two proxy states who are within the boundaries of Ukraine but fighting Ukraine. That is where Putin is now saying he has recognized them as states, has granted them independence. He sent peacekeepers. That is where the actual incursion or the actual attack or the actual war with Ukraine started. You wake up one day and you alone in the whole world are recognizing warring parts of Ukraine. But
Okay,
again, the West response is coming too late, too little, and it's not well coordinated.
okay.
Sanctions.
All right. Let me just ask Dr. Sita before we come to those sanctions in a moment. Russia's argument has been that the West is piling ammunitions in Ukraine. Maybe it's a reason or an excuse, and that if they launch from Ukraine, Moscow could be off the surface of the earth in 7 minutes. And therefore, they are asking the West to take away its hands off Ukraine, and that Ukraine must never join NATO. And the West is saying Ukraine is a sovereign country and should determine where it wants to go, east or west. Dr. Usita, are the reasons for Russia strong enough to stop the West from piling stocks of ammunition in Ukraine?
It's not just arms, Dr. Shegun. It's not just
Mhm.
arms. Russia has shown capacity when Trump was in power. If you understood what Putin did to America during Trump's time. You know why the rest of the West, like Ambassador Neko said, too late, too little. They are, the West is dragging their feet. You can see it. They're just dragging, and they are scared. Nobody wants to deal with Putin. Putin is reckless. And if you ask me, yes, breadbasket, the Arsenal point. What we feel in Nigeria today is the same thing that the rest of the world feel about Ukraine. They will not let Ukraine go because it's a breadbasket. They will not let Ukraine go because it is the military point for all of them. If they let Ukraine go, the West will be there face to face, particularly the US, face to face with the US. But listen to this. The only reason why, this is how we feel in Nigeria, the only reason why Putin will not let Ukraine go is the bread basket phenomenon. This is exactly why Nigeria is where it is today. Niger Delta cannot be let go because it is source of wealth. I mean, we talk about it, we laugh just like you laugh now, but the truth about it is that almost every oil well in Nigeria is owned by Northerners. How the hell would they let the South go? So while we're discussing Ukraine and Russia, we just pinch ourselves and see exactly the same thing happening here. And the only thing we know now is that Putin is a common strand in the development of Russia. A young KGB guy, foot soldier for Russia, has seen Russia enjoy the bliss of number, has seen Russia enjoy the bliss of being one large country, and now he's in power again, and he has to do what he has to do. Russians are like that. They are so practical about their intentions. And then listen to this: if America and the rest of the West, even your UK, does not do anything in the next 6 months, it will encourage Russia to take the next 6 steps, because what they are doing now, yes, is to sneak in step by step, making sure that they retain their position. And by the end of the day, what do we have? What you might not call war, but very destructive, because at that point he has the entire world at the tip of his fingers.
Oh, thank you very much. Mark in Milan, Trump said yesterday that this will not have happened under my watch. How far do you think is correct? And do you think we're at the brink of a serious war?
Yes, we are, Doc. Yes, we are. Thank you very much, Dr. Sita and Ambassador Nat. The situation in Ukraine, I want to say that why the West is slowing down to make input is because, take note, there is something called heat and cold in Europe. And Gazprom is coming from Russia. That's 75% of the heat that is supplied to the West. So Europe depends on Russia for heat. And that's a vital aspect of the European life. I mean, without heat, a lot of people will die. So we'll be having this smooth talking, Macron, everybody. But Putin sees all of these Western leaders for now as little kids. If probably Angela Merkel was there, he could probably slide and listen to her. An older woman, experienced woman. But every other person in Europe is just a boy to him.
But Scholz, the German chancellor, is not a small man, not a young man.
Well, when I say small man, I don't really mean the age. I mean experience also. Scholz has not been in leadership or not up now. And also, he's more like a small errand boy, you could put it like that, for the party. So it's a serious thing. Putin's peacekeepers are in their tanks rolling to Ukraine separatist region, and the Russian tank is on standby. Putin last night officially declared, 2 nights ago officially declared those 2 regions of Ukraine independent region in his press conference. Biden is saying his own in one corner. Biden said they've imposed sanctions against the 2 breakaway regions, but that doesn't stop Putin from doing what he's doing. UK Prime Minister also confirmed a barrage of sanction, but all of this doesn't shudder the man. It's about Putin. Putin is trying to show that he's on board now. He has studied the world and he has seen that he could be a very good a good icon, leadership icon in the world now, because he has seen Biden weakling, he has seen the Europeans weaklings, he has seen Russia, China obviously will support him, Far East are there with him, so we're in a strong dilemma. It's a strong dilemma we are in now concerning Europe, Russia, Ukraine, and this also means a lot to the future, the life of the Ukrainians. The problem there is Ukraine is not a full member of EU. Ukraine is not also a full member of NATO. So who will save Ukraine? How can Ukraine get out of this? Because Ukraine is in between all of these organizations that could really come in with all the force. So, and I also like Dr. Sita synchronizing this with the Nigerian situation. This is exactly what is happening in Nigeria. A situation where some people are holding up a certain region because they are gaining from that region. And to the detriment of that region, to the detriment of the whole country, we see what is happening in our country, and it's sad. Okay. So we talk about Ukraine.
Let me ask you one question, and the question is for everyone for 30 seconds because we have to move on. For 30 seconds, Mark, will Putin get to Kiev at the end of the day, or he will just stop where he is now? You think he will move towards Kiev?
Putin will encroach in because he's. I mean, the prime minister, what's his name? He's a comedian that turned politician overnight. He doesn't know how to dialogue politically. He doesn't know what to do. That's a comedian that turned politician overnight. So the man is.
Let me ask Ambassador Nat. Ambassador Nat, the way things are going on, do you think Putin will move towards Kiev?
In fact, he's already moving towards Kiev. Because he has crossed the boundaries between those 2 proxy states and Ukraine. He's crossed the boundary.
Dr. Sita, you think Putin will move towards Kiev?
That's his strategy. He's going all the way.
Okay, one more question. I want to leave this topic, but this one touches everyone. One more question, Dr. Sita.
Yes.
If he should move into Kiev because of his military might, do you think the West will come in their military might to stop him? Or you think they will be?
At that point, yeah, because he's daring for war. And that's going to be the response. War is the next response. And believe me, go ahead. Yeah.
Ambassador, what's your response to that? Do you think the West will come with this military might?
You see, the issue of military might, you are strong. It's all about locality. The geography of that area is best known by Putin. And
so you are trying to say, in very simple words, the West will be very cautious putting military there.
What the West is doing is putting military in the countries surrounding Ukraine. The countries, not.
All right. If I can hear you clearly, you are contradicting the position of Dr. Sita that yes, they will fortify the countries around, but they will not defend Kiev.
Who will not defend Kiev?
The West will not defend Kiev as in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine.
Well, the 2 things are involved. Because the capital is one thing, the other parts of the country is a different ball game.
Look, I just want to know whether there's going to be a 3rd World War from here. If they should move into Kiev, Russia should move into Kiev, will the West come and defend Kiev? Then we know that there is a 3rd World War that has started. Mark in Milan, please answer my question.
No, sir. The West will not. From what we observe.
So Ukraine is meat. Dr. Sita, do you want to fight back?
Yes, the truth about this is that any Western country that has a mind to go there that does not go there is also meat. That's the truth. Because once Putin does this and nobody responds by direct interference, then the world is in trouble.
Then he will go for the next country. Then he will go for another country.
He will come to Nigeria. He will come to Abuja.
That was how Hitler started, isn't it?
Absolutely. He will come to Nigeria.
Hitler started like this, and then it became a world war. And so, Mark, with what he has said, with what Dr. Sita has said, which is being said all over the world, that if you give him Ukraine, you will have, for instance, he was given Crimea, he was given Donetsk, he was given Luhansk. Now you give him Ukraine. Then the next one, I mean, he's taking Belarus. So the next thing might be Mark.
Oh, but remember, yes, Dr. Shego, remember that these were also all part of Russia until.
No, excuse me. They broke. So they are now.
He's not sovereign. He's not. We're not giving him, or he's not. He's not taking it. These are regions of the country. Actually, let's be frank with this. Let's be frank.
There is no being. Is Ukraine a country, Mark?
Yes, Ukraine is a country, but they
were
Belarus
a country. Is Belarus a country?
Yes, sir, but they were all
pulled out. Why you say the region of Russia?
They were all regions of Russia.
They were. Dr. Tita, please help me inform my friend that why is he rigmaroling? We are the brink of it.
My dream is that he doesn't get to Kiev. His strategy is to go there. If he goes there and the U.S. does nothing, U.S. has failed in the next 50 years.
And they said the diplomacy of Biden is a very poor one, and mid-term election is coming, and Donald Trump is going to utilize it for the Democrats to lose control of the Congress. And with this kind of international diplomacy that he's losing, do you agree that Biden is not performing?
No, Biden has no diplomacy. His diplomacy team is very, very weak. Anthony Blinken is not. What name of this man?
Kissinger.
Yes.
He's not Henry. Yeah, he's not Henry Kissinger.
John Kerry.
No, even Kissinger. If it was Kissinger's regime, Putin will not try all this thing he's trying to do.
You're right.
If Trump was around, Putin wouldn't try this. So he's making use of what he finds on ground, and he's dictating to them. He's calling the shots, and they are just responding.
Yes, is it not a British man that say it is better to jaw than to war? Well, we just have to leave this until next Wednesday. I'm sure there'll be some great developments by Wednesday. And even if before Wednesday, there is a major war starting up, we will quickly come back and have a news echo extra. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Because we cannot be looking at a third world war starting and then we keep quiet and wait till next Wednesday. We are monitoring every minute at the moment. Let's quickly, Ambassador Nat, COVID has finally been subdued in the United Kingdom. Discuss.
Well, I don't totally agree with that. COVID, we have been told that we have to live with COVID, which means COVID is alive in the UK and the other parts of the world. The number of hospital admissions are still, relatively stable, and people are still dying, but not in large numbers.
Is it true that it is because of money? The British government has spent over £15 billion on lateral flow test equipment. They have spent a lot of money. They don't want to spend more money. And so they just have to say, look, if you are infected, go and treat yourself, or the NHS will take care of you, and we can't afford it anymore. Meanwhile, so many companies especially known by the parliamentarians, have been buoyant in the period. So now they want to draw a line. Is that what has happened? Now,
is it me? Well,
yes.
the thing is that right from the onset, the scientists, the medicals, and then the politicians have not been transparent in dealing with this issue of COVID in the UK. It's been more of money making by the pharmaceutical industries and sharing it to the politicians. And we have a situation now where the politicians are trying to go in their own way, and the scientists and the medicals are still saying no. You have to listen to us. And the big farms have not exhausted their stock of products. They just have to sell everything. They're in business.
Okay, let me ask Dr. Sita. In Nigeria, the government has not yet cancelled the PCR test. Why? Most of the Western countries have said, if you want to travel into our countries, you don't have to do a PCR test. Why is Nigeria still holding on to PCR test second day?
We don't know what to do.
Why? I suppose COVID is not that serious in Nigeria.
Absolutely, but that's where the problem is. It is this in this climate that plagues like COVID will strike and destroy, because just a handful of Nigerians now are wearing the face mask. So just a handful of them are avoiding crowd. Look at what happened in the plague of 1918. It was the third wave that took stock. 100 plus million people, and that was it. People thought it was all gone. People thought they had settled it. What we are looking at is the possibility of a new strand, and that strand we are not ready for, because, like you said, they're not canceling. They're not canceling, but what are they doing at the airport? They're taking money.
It's as well as nothing.
That is the point, Dr. Shegun. This is my angst. The point that we're making here now on News Echoes is that we should be able to do the right thing. If we're canceling, let's cancel. But not that it is there and we are making people make money. We're helping people make money. But okay, let me give you two examples. There were people who were caught in the UK at the port of entry. They had certificates on them. But when they tried to find out from where, it had no point of origin. Those are the certificates out of Nigeria. Yes, no point of origin, meaning that yes, we are still not making policy statements about COVID, but we are killing our people. We are encouraging them to go buy the certificate. Some are selling for 10,000, some are selling for 100,000, depending on where you're buying it from. So let's get it right. Let's begin to teach our people how to live with COVID. Ambassador Nyako just said it now. If we live with COVID like we've lived with every other thing, we're living with polio, we're living with HIV/AIDS, we're actually living with Ebola. So why are we not taking it the way that we're supposed to take it? Begin to find ways. And believe me, you, Dr. Shego, it is not just politicians fighting scientists. Scientists are fighting themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Scientists are fighting themselves. They are creating conspiracy theories that is making any position look nasty. So please, for our country, for Abuja, we are suggesting, there's a local team of analysts here. We're suggesting that we just go all the way, make it look like we have in the rest of the world, and then put the measures stringent. Make it clear that we can live with HIV. Sorry, we can live with COVID and survive it if we do the right thing.
That's right. Thank you very much. On that note, we'll go on a short break. When we return, European Union and African Union are cooperating, and they are saying 2 continents, 1 vision. How many of you will agree that European Union and AU will have 1 vision? or one will be a subordinate in this supposedly coordinate situation? Don't go away. We'll be right back with news echoes on this fateful Wednesday.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better. The Inside Story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle. Inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment. A better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story magazine. Get Schengen Story magazine full editions.
Welcome back to News Echoes, 23rd of February 2022. Just this last week, the heads of government of the European Union and African Union met in Brussels, Belgium, and decided to have an economic package, which later culminated into two unions, one vision. I repeat that one. It's very, very poetic, isn't it? Two unions, one vision. And they said they're going to have an economic package that will be substantial and that will be beneficial to both continents. History has shown us that the EU has benefited more than the African Union in all of these uh, understandings. Let me start with Mark in Milan. Mark, what do you think what happened in Brussels, and do you think it's going to work?
Yes, Dr. Shaga, thank you very much. What happened in Brussels was, uh, let's call it reigniting the relationship between Africa and Europe. We hope it will work because we've always had all these at different intervals. African leaders came together in Brussels on the 17th of February to the 18th, and they discussed a lot. One of the discussion was that the West, Europe, is not considering Africa for the COVID on the COVID situation. The COVID, a lot of the COVID medicines, the COVID jabs are patented, and that doesn't give Africa that power to produce and also coming to having large access to the COVID medicine. So they are asking for a release from those patents, those closed patents. Also, other things were discussed. They told the Europeans that there are 1 point something billion people by the corner there, and that number needs a lot of things, attention. But you see, when we see these things, we monitored and we followed up the whole event, the 2-day event. When we see this, we still wonder, why is Africa still licking the boots of Europeans? I mean, why do we need to come here and seek for their assistance? Why do we need to look for them for COVID, medical, and all these things. Why are we doing this at this point in time? When we have minds, creators, we have people that could also replicate what they are doing here in Africa. And all we need to do in Africa is for the leaders to look inward, look within Africa, and get succor, help from these people. So they were there in Brussels, and you know, the Europeans are intelligent people. Yes, they want to help. Yes, they want to come in, but it's not a free, there's a bargain. There's always something at stake, you know? So it's time for Africa to wake up and stop running for help, when we could also build our help base inside Africa. We have men, learned people. I mean, Dr. Sita could have colleagues, he knows friends and colleagues, men, people that are genius in different fields of human activity. So, well, Brussels happened. They were there. They talked. The dialogue. The white man, smart man. Europeans are very intelligent. They were there looking at them intelligently, observing them, because most times when this money and loans and grants and funds are given to these leaders, they are not used for what they claim, they say they ask for. They are rather used for something else.
Okay. Nat, you agree with the two unions, one vision. Do you agree with them?
No,
Or someone is going to get hurt?
I don't agree with them.
Yeah,
Because even two individuals never have the same vision or the same dream. Once again, the AU have demonstrated their lack of seriousness. They are just a bunch of very lazy people who don't want to roll up their sleeves and dirty their hands. And I have a different view from my colleague Mark. The EU people are just they are no more intelligent than Africans. You'll be surprised that it is the Africans who are in Europe that are pushing these things. Even this vaccine we are talking of, there are Nigerians who are in Pfizer, J&J, and all these places.
But Ambassador, if I get Mark right, he says the Europeans are intelligent, not that they are more intelligent, but intelligent how to score a goal against the Africans. That's what he's talking. Not that they are more intelligent, that Africans are just there, not wanting to score against the Europeans, but the Europeans are so intelligent that how do we get them? How do we tackle them? How do we slide them? How do we get more of their money into us? But are the Africans thinking of how to get their own money back?
Well, once you introduce the word intelligent, it means Africans are not intelligent.
It's what we call, in broadcast, we call it soundbite. You have to be careful of the soundbite.
The other 1 or 2 points I want to make is the EU are just responding to the incursion of China into the African continent. And we remember, so that what was happening, because all Africans were now heading to China for loans and to do any business, and because the Chinese also don't have any business etiquettes, if you want to corrupt them, they will do business with you. If you don't corrupt them, they'll do business with you. And
except in the Maradi Nigeria Railway, they refused to give the loan.
Well, no, they didn't give the loan.
No, they said it was overpadded, to the shame of Nigerians.
And then
let me go to Abuja. Dr. Sita, the EU, who is going to benefit from the joint vision, EU or the AU?
EU.
Why do you say so, please?
But that's the plan. Dr. Shegun, that's the plan. From day one, that was the plan. Ambassador Nat just said it. The European scare of Africa is that we actually are tired we are tired. The only thing wrong with our tiredness is that it hasn't gone gotten to the end. If it gets to the end, our so-called leaders, our so-called corrupt leaders will always remember the fact that Europe has never helped us. They have always underdeveloped us. There is nothing in 2022 that will make that difference. So what we are looking at now is an entirely new bus built by Europeans. The doors are open for a new ride. So as soon as these leaders go into this bus, it's going to go in the same direction: cheating, lying, and what we might call exploitation.
Dr.
Because
Sita, I
yes,
was
sir,
just listening to you, and I recall that the African population is twice the population of the European Union, more
absolutely,
than twice. And of
absolutely,
course, in space, and then in raw materials, the African
absolutely.
Union has more than the European Union. So who
Yes, sir.
should be making more money?
That's right. Let me explain that. If it is making money, Africa should be making money and be gifting to the rest of the world.
Mm,
But the truth about it is that we've not been able to find one African leader elected by Africans that could that could lead in that sphere. So pockets of people. I own an African university. What we are trying to do is to disrupt the entire continent in a way that they will change perspectives. What
mm,
we're saying in effect is that the European comes into Africa, knows nothing about Africa, listens to us. That is kind of intelligence that my Godwin is talking about, and then takes what he hears from us to pit it against us. He knows that
mm,
cobalt is somewhere. It's raw material for this. He knows that we have liquid gold in Nigeria. It's raw material for something. We know that gold is in Ghana. Diamond is in Sierra Leone. Where else in the world do you find this? That's why they're coming here. That's why
yeah,
my problem with African leader was that they left what they were doing. My president left what he was doing, something that would have changed the course of history for us, and jumped into Brussels. Came back after 2 days and forgot what he was doing. That's how they treat us. That's how they treat us. There is no
oh,
how can you call it partnership when one side is not prepared? You know that, Dr. Johnson. In your discipline, preparation is the beginning of partnership. We're not
yes,
prepared.
yes.
We're not prepared. We are not prepared.
And do you know that when we say EU, AU, do you know that the British Empire has been cut off? I mean, the Great Britain is not part of EU.
Absolutely. I was going to say
So,
that, but
so it's a major. The Anglophone countries, they are at a lesser advantage, where France will be showing off his power. And
even Belgium itself, even
one of the
Belgium
things
itself,
the British government did not think that EU AU may now come up with a no balancing of power of France in that organization. Well, that is what they chose when they left EU. We just have to move on. In Nigeria, they say that the lecturers are striking one more time. Strike, strike, strike one more time. Is it the fault of the lecturers or the fault of the government that continues to recede from what they had agreed?
Well, there are always two sides to a coin.
Please tell us.
Sometimes you have a third one, a third side. But let's settle for two sides of the coin as we speak. You see, if you look at if the history of education in Nigeria, we really wanted to copy the former Soviet Union of free education, but with specifics. But
Mm,
as we got independence, our population grew. The demand on education was, when we talk of education, we're talking of quality education, functional.
mm,
We
mm,
our government could no longer respond to the demand on education. We remember in those days, you go to university, you get a meal ticket free. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the school fees were not being charged. But as things are now, and again, it used to be the students who are going on strike and not lecturers. But now the situation has changed, It's
Now,
changed.
will you blame the lecturers whose salaries 35 years ago was about, let's say, $1,000, but whose salaries now are about $100? Will you blame them for saying, look, we have been shortchanged?
Yeah, because they go on strike and they are paid.
Well, they didn't beg to go on strike. They went on strike because the federal government will always renege on what they had agreed on. Is that a good way to show?
Well, as I said, we have two sides to a coin. You have a government that is rogue, that doesn't keep to any side of their own agreement or bargain. When they agree and they sign, and that's the
And
end of
the
the
other
story.
side is that the lecturers are poorly paid and poorly research funded, that they are barely primary school teachers. They don't measure up with the lecturers across the globe, not because of their fault, not because they're not brilliant, but because there is no library, no research center, no computers to compete with the rest of the world, isn't it?
Well, the crop of lecturers we have now, uh, they came into the system when so many things have changed.
Okay, let's quickly ask Osita. Osi, you are an educationist. You run a university. Tell us, we really want a balanced discussion like Nat has started. Two sides to a coin. Please tell us. We must get to the bottom of this.
The side I belong to is the weak side. What I hear, what I hear Ambassador Nat say without voicing it is that lecturers take the blame because when they go on strike and some pockets are padded, they stop. So the question is, federal government is political. They know that this could happen. Believe me, Dr. Shegun Johnson, if our lecturers stay out of school seriously, asking for what they are looking for, it's not promise. No ASUU is asking for promise. They're asking for realization. So why not stay on one strike, get what you're looking for, and then go back to school and teach forever? That's what everybody does everywhere else. Do you know what they're doing now? They are giving opportunities to quasi colleges that call themselves private universities to take our students and destroy them further. Because they don't go on strike. So parents are saying, okay, my son has to be 4 years. In 4 years, he's done with school because it's a private university. Most of the private universities pay next to nothing. Private universities pay less than what federal and state governments pay these college teachers. But they are not going on strike. You know why? Because federal government has made sure that there's no job in the country. Most college teachers now go into teaching as a last resort. They are not there because they want to become professional professors. No, they are there because it is survival. That is why when they go there, they sleep with the girls and take money from the boys. This is personal. This is personal. I ran out of college teaching because of this. So what we're saying practically is that let us get serious for a change. Let us become one of those that are not counted amongst the labor unions in Africa. Let them stand up because they are first-class citizens, for Christ's sake. Any college professor, any college faculty is a first-class citizen. Let them stand like one and say, we will not go back until you give us something. Yes, hunger will be there, but there's something they call sacrifice. So
But the parents pressurize the lecturers.
That's
Our
what we're
children are
saying. The
suffering.
parents are part of the problem. They are the politicians. This is crazy. Because when you talk about university teachers, people want to kill them. But the truth about it is that they are giving people the opportunity to destroy them. They listen to government, they listen to parents. So by the end of the day, the people in government will take their children abroad. The parents who cannot do it are fighting the teachers, and then the teachers have no say. Some of them will say, let me go back to work and feed my children.
You know, I weep for the Nigerian education because in the Western world, lecturers travel a lot to conferences to bring themselves up. They go for training and retraining, and it's not so for Nigerian lecturers.
You know why?
Mm.
They don't have the fund and they don't have the content. I'll be very honest with you. They do not train themselves personally Is it like you and I are talking here? What about doing private research? Three things are in the life of a lecturer: teaching, research, and service, community service. So in this triangle, where do they belong? So you judge them from any point, they are weak. If they get funded to attend international
so most
conferences,
of the problem depends on the government, the state government, the federal government, and then the so-called private universities. Only one or two of them, in my own opinion, including state universities, could measure up at the international level.
not even
Correct me.
international. Yes, some of them are good enough, but don't you put them international because they run up to hundreds,
Yeah,
150,
but
200.
the real reason for a university is to be universal, isn't it? Is the university supposed to be universal? That's why we must measure them the same way.
Absolutely. No,
Maximilian,
no, we're saying the same thing. Even when you measure them, they rank 100, 200. That's the point. That's the
it's a
point.
conundrum, isn't it? Yeah, Max.
Absolutely. And the truth about it is that there is not
Yeah.
even a plan to come out of it. There is no plan.
I
None.
think that's the sadness of it, isn't it?
Yes, that is the anger. There is no show of steps and strategy to come out of it. We are inside it. Every year, our children go into the rut and come out. Come on, you need to see students in the come out of the university. You need to see them.
Mark was at the Ahmadu Bello University. He got his degree from there. Mark, is the Ahmadu Bello University you went to about 2 or 3 decades ago? Is it the same with the one we have now in terms of standard?
No, everything is in shambles. But actually, let's look at why ASUU is on this strike. As I yesterday, the Minister of Education was still saying it's going to be called up, but ASUU is insisting. There is something called Transparency, Accountability, Payments Platform. And that's, I really don't know what that means, but what I'm studying is, I think Dr. Sita might know better. It's probably a transparent way of payment for ASUU lecturers, university lecturers. And they are seeking that it's open, it becomes more transparent, more accountable, and people, the lecturers can have access and understand what payments, their salaries, their everything. The minister is saying otherwise, the minister in Gige. And I don't know why you will have somebody that is from another field of endeavor being the Minister of Education. I mean,
no,
productivity.
Productivity. Sorry, yes, but I mean, productivity. How do you have a doctor as a productivity minister?
It's politics.
It's the political post.
It's politics.
Okay, so but I see that as a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
It doesn't match really. Yeah. So anyway, ASUU is making strong demand. The minister was still saying that he was giving the hope that the strikes will be off, but the ASUU people are still insisting and still saying they want this accountability, transparency in the payment platform of workers. So this is.
I think the federal government is just behaving like the Boko Haram. The education is not that important. That's what I'm hearing from them. I might be wrong, but because if education is important, you will train and retrain university lecturers. They will go for researches. They will go abroad for conferences abroad. They will bring in new books, new literature, new standard of teaching, new ways of teaching. They will change their syllabus to fit a digital stage. Many things they will need to revolutionize. But where Boko Haram operates, that is the mentality of Boko Haram, book is not that very important. So the level of the state of education in Nigeria is at the Boko Haram level. And I think the Nigerian government should take that on board and say, we cannot continue this at this Boko Haram level of university education. Nat, I have to come to you.
Sorry, sir. As of yesterday, do you know there was a poll on the streets of Nigeria, and they were talking to students, young school, university students, and a lot of them said they've lost hope. That there's no point going to school and you're in a situation where your school today, next minute your lecturers are on strike, This minute you're in school, and so a majority of them, in fact, half of the poll that was taken had the students say there's no education in Nigeria, and that's pretty sad.
There are so many reasons for them to say so. After going through the poorly trained tertiary institution, then they have no job, even with all the certificates they may be holding. So why go to job? Whereas somebody at Alaba Market or on Chagja Market in Onitsha is making millions and millions every month. Nat, please tell us, is it better to be a police officer or to be a Nigerian drug law enforcement agent? Because Abba Kyari has taken the NDLEA to court. He's claiming 500 million naira for fictitiously maligning his name. He says he never carried drug. Nat, please help us. I don't have understanding again.
Well, it depends who is answering the question. That is a police officer or a
NDLEA
trafficker. Because they are all very lucrative businesses.
It's not a business, is it? Abba Kyari said, I did not carry cocaine and the NDLEA has roped me in. Now, quickly bring us to date.
Well, again, some of these things, they are very, very hard things to even and apply your senses to it and maintain your mental health balance. That a super corps, one of the most decorated police officers, will descend so low to be a super criminal in court, and in quotes anyway. I'm not calling him.
He has gone to court 500 million naira. They have $1 billion. He said they were fictitious.
Well, if we had a judiciary system that works, that can easily be sorted out.
Okay, let's ask the man in Abuja, because I'm just mindful of the time. Do you think Kyari is making a point, or his bosses, or he's moving along the trend? Osita?
He's been typical. I said it before. I said it before. My colleagues, if you give Abba Kyari a podium and a microphone to say his story, the country will drown. And I mean this, I'm not joking. So part of what he's doing now is working with his bosses to distract us.
Wow.
That's the truth. So,
and we are very gullible as a nation.
Very gullible people, and you can see people now. Come to my social media platform. There are wailers and hailers now. People are saying, yes, let him go to court. Yes, why are they accusing him of this? But if you know who is accusing him, if you remember Buba Marwa, Buba Marwa took three trips to his boss, to the IGP, to say, they spoke in very quiet language and to say, how do we follow this? But because it is clear that Marwa has a case against Abba Kyari, he has gone all the way. And Abba Kyari is reacting slowly by doing this just to create the kind of thing that Nigerians do. Distract them, let them argue about something else, and you go on. For Christ's sake,
I'm mindful of the time, Osita. This is getting interesting. We definitely have to
like me too, because by noon I should be somewhere else. Yes.
All right. Maki Milan, I have give you 10 seconds. What's your last take for today? What would you like the whole world to hear from you? Maki Milan.
What I would like the world to hear is we should really be probably what it needs now is prayers that Russia-Ukraine issue doesn't really go out of the level it is now, because it will be a good one.
Definitely in support of prayers. Pray.
We are just past the pandemic thing. A lot of people have suffered, a lot of companies, economy, and now Russia with this. So
now that let us pray. We will pray in a minute. Ambassador Nat, in 10 seconds, what would you like the world to hear from us?
We we'll keep praying that Nigeria will survive till 2023.
Is that serious? Okay, we will take that one next Wednesday. Dr. Sita, all the way from Abuja, what will you want to say to the rest of the world?
I'm asking Nigerians to learn from Putin, because what he's doing now will lead to his great fall. Just watch. Great fall.
Wow. Well, that is how far we can go today. In the United Kingdom, we moved from 2 years of pandemic to 3 straight hurricanes: Hurricane Dudley, Hurricane Eunice, Hurricane Franklin. We don't know what the name of the next hurricane could be. Thankfully, they're not Nigerian names. That's how far we'll go today. We want to thank our colleagues, Mark in Milan, Dr. Sita in Abuja, and from the city of London is Nati Yako. Until next Wednesday, when News Echoes will bring you the latest happening, especially in Ukraine.